We all want to understand why this happened and what drove someone to do this.
I know your family's been frustrated with the investigation so far, understandably so. Here we are a week and a half out, and really not much information about this. Does not appear to be a suspect.
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who.
Their means of death don't match. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in a box, and I can speak on that.
She was always surrounded by a good group.
They haven't said anything. I learned more on the news and on TV than they have said to me.
I haven't earned the ability to grieve the way that I want to grieve. I want to be able to have justice first.
I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not. Maybe he shouldn't have been. And yeah.
Share the strong alibi.
Just really fast.
If you can dismiss.
An hour later, and we're like, what?
We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here.
Nope.
Hello, Grizzlies, and welcome back to another episode of Grizzly True Crime. My name is Grizzly K, and today we continue to look at the Idaho 4 case. The reason I wanted to live stream this with you was because of that new interview with Kaylee Goncalves' parents. We're learning some interesting things from the parents lately, right? I hope you enjoyed the intro. I had little clips of it there, but we're going to look at the full interview as well. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to all the mods. Really appreciate that as well. Members, patrons. And I'm quickly going to put on subscribe only mode because we've got over 1,000 people here now. You subscribe for 1 minute, you chat with us. Okay, so are we ready to look at this? If you're not familiar with this case, please check out the playlist. We are looking at a quadruple homicide case that happened on November 13th, 2022. Kaylee Goncalves, Maddie Morgan, Ethan Chapin, and Zaina Kernodle were murdered in their off-campus college home, and there's two roommates that were unharmed, as well as the dog Murphy. So let's have a look at this one. This is, and might I say, I really love this presenter or this reporter, right? So this is the latest Fox News interview with Kaylee Goncalves' parents, and somewhere in here, her dad says their points of damage don't match. Now, initially, I thought he was talking maybe about, because after that he says, like, the killer didn't have to go upstairs. So it seems like, okay, the points of damage don't match. So let me know what you think. That's why we're live streaming, because I want to see all your thoughts as well. And if you're watching this on replay, I'm sorry you missed the live stream. We do interrupt a lot on live streams because we're chatting together. Okay, so let me know what you think. But I first thought, okay, maybe he means Zaina and Ethan. Maybe that's what he means by targeted attack, and the killer had no reason to go upstairs. But then, I think this guy's name is Lawrence, right? This reporter says, oh, okay, so Maddie and Kaylee's injuries don't, their wounds don't match. And he's like, yep, they don't match. So that, it was just very interesting. I mean, we already saw at the celebration of life, or the candlelight vigil, that Kaylee's dad said that they died in the same bed. So that wasn't such a shock for me, especially because Kaylee had already moved out of the house, apparently, getting ready for a new job in January. And she was actually just there to visit for the weekend to show Maddie her car. Okay, so Van the Chimp, very nice. You're like, I'm here to interrupt. Nice. Okay, so let's play this a little bit.
Answers. These 4 young innocent victims deserve answers, and so do their families. So let's start there. Joining me now on set, the parents of Kaylee Goncalves, Christy and Steve Goncalves. Thank y'all so much for being with me. You guys have been so transparent and strong for the public. Christy, you called the person that did this the boogeyman.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
It's literally like what nightmares are made of. Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman, that's just how I feel. Like that's just the horrific details of everything. Them just having a good time, going home and going to bed, and that's happening to them.
Your best friend, Claude.
What do you guys think about that? I mean, it does feel like that. I don't know why boogeyman. It should be scary, right? But I think in true crime we're so desensitized. Boogeyman doesn't sound scary, like some phantom killer, some unknown. I mean, we don't know who this person is, who the hell would do this, and how. You know, they're not caught, but I still want to say we got to be patient. It's only been 3 weeks. I just see, you know, mainstream media, and of course the families. I understand the families are grieving. They're completely frustrated. They're in shock. There's a lot of emotions they're going through. But with like mainstream media saying like, why is it taking so long? Why don't they have someone yet? Like, hello, what's happening? And I heard one yesterday that said, is it too late to solve this crime? I'm like, it can't be too late. It's only been 3 weeks. And there's so much DNA to process, so much as we see. Like if we see in any case, if there's one homicide, sometimes those autopsies and toxicology reports and things, they take like 6 to 12 weeks, you know, and this is 4 murders. Gerald Armstrong, thank you so much. I think the wounds are way worse. They don't want to tell the public the truth because it will cause fear. Could be. Could be. Okay. Hilarious says boogeyman equals old school. Right? Okay. So let's continue listening.
Into bed.
Just crawling in bed.
Every
and
girl
the
in
boogeyman
America
comes.
knows what that's
The
like.
boogeyman doesn't, you know, meet you at McDonald's. I mean, the boogeyman comes and snatches you out of your bedroom.
Steve, we've been talking. I've been talking to folks in the community. You said something that stuck with me. You said, until this person is caught, you can't sleep in your bed.
No, I can't just lay in my bed and do nothing. That's not the way I raised my family. That's not the way I raised my girls and my son. You don't be a victim. You stand up for yourself and you do everything in your power to make sure people hear you. And
I agree with that, right? Be proactive. I'm not sure if maybe Kaylee's dad is oversharing lately. Like maybe he shouldn't be leaking certain information. But he does say here, I'm not leaking this. This is like my right, as you saw from the intro. So let me know what you think about that. I mean, we hadn't known before, and the coroner, you know, changed the story a few times. So the prosecutor and then law enforcement's gone quite quiet since. But, you know, saying that they were found in the same, they died in the same bed, that was new information. And then today as well, it's very interesting information that comes out here and there, right? But there's not a gag order or something. Of course not. In this case, we don't even have a suspect yet. So yes. Got Me Stump says, love these parents. They are proactive. They're going to kick ass. The good thing is they make sure to keep the pressure on, huh? Law enforcement will know. Not that law enforcement needs it. I don't think, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they do. Just know. Oh no, the whole world is watching. The parents are on it. Very proactive. So yes. Okay.
they're going to hear Kaylee. They're going to hear Maddie. They're going to hear these.
The other two as well.
Yes.
All of them.
I'm careful saying anything about them because I need to be careful because I can't speak on somebody else's child. But these two girls, I'm not trying to be a glory hound, but these two girls, I'm going to do what I can do. And we're not being victims. We're going to fight. We're going to figure out how to make sure that we hold everybody, accountable, and we keep eyes and attention on this and get this thing resolved.
Steve.
And of course, as Grizzlies, we back the family 100%, right? We're with them, we support them. And I think it's great that they're being really proactive, as I say. Miss Dog Lover, thank you so much. You say, hi, guys. Ken Maines from Unsolved No More. You guys have mentioned his channel a few times in the past 2 weeks or so. Ken Maines mentioned you on his video today, said he's going to watch some of your vids. I did watch that as well. I'm in the comments section too. Thank you so much for that. That was a great honor.
Steve, you have made it very clear to our audience that you are supportive of law enforcement. You support the investigation. But recently, I've been watching and talking with you, and you're getting frustrated. What does that frustration come from, sir?
They put certain people between you and the officers that are making things happen. And those people are like lawyers, and they don't want to say anything, and they don't have the guts to come up and be alpha and be like leaders and say, hey, we might say something that's wrong. We're going to take that hit. So the officers, they look me straight in their eyes. The lead detective looked me in his eyes. I have no doubt he's working as hard as he can, but somebody isn't communicating. There's nothing being released. It seems like they're trying to suppress the story. We want to put rewards out. They're like, don't do that. Yeah, I get it. Your town doesn't want to have reward posters posted all over.
It is interesting that there's still no reward in this case. I'd find that very interesting because by now, usually in these cases, we would see a reward. And I think with the student community, it could be really effective. You know, one doesn't want to say money will make people talk, but sometimes money does make people talk. I think it would be important at this point to get a reward fund going, right? What do you guys think? Thank you, Van Chimp. Grizzly getting the recognition she deserves. Thank you so much. And to the person who asked, is this the first time I'm watching this? Of course not. I wouldn't plan a whole show to show you this and talk about this if I haven't watched it yet. So I hope you guys have seen it. If it's your first time watching it, no problem. Watch along and let's make comments here together and figure it out.
Bro, when you come and you do your rush, you're not going to get a lot of students if they see those things. But this community is not going to heal until this guy's pulled off the streets. It ain't going to happen. Think it through. It's not going to happen. He has to be off the streets. We all are working for the same thing.
When was the last time y'all heard from the police?
Thursday, we looked at our phone records. We want to be accurate. We don't want to sell anyone out.
About 3 o'clock on Thursday.
And
did y'all get an update from the police about the investigation?
There was nothing.
Pausing. Teresa says dad addresses that 2 cops say no. Exactly. Like, it's a little bit odd that the police are like, nope, no reward. It's a bit strange. I can't think of a reason really for it. Well, I mean, Kaylee's dad here is saying, well, maybe they don't want posters everywhere. They still want people to come study there, whatever. I don't know. What do you guys think it is? Susie says a reward will scare off prospective students. Very interesting. Yes, Dawn says, Father, G wants justice. Of course. We all want justice for the victims, and man, I feel for these families. This is horrendous. This case, some people email, and say, oh my word, this is the first time this case that people are thinking about it all the time. It's become like quite an obsession, right? For some of the Grizzlies, they're like, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't believe this. I'm dreaming about it and all that. I mean, it's really terrifying. Quadruple homicide, it really is like a horror movie, like a slasher film. It's terrible.
We have no updates for you.
There was no update. They needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something.
Some mail.
That was mail related. So we're working with them. We're not selling them out. We love our law support.
The FBI, everybody that's here. We just have no information as family, and it gets tough day after day after day. I mean, every day you just wake up and think today's the day. We're going to hear something, and you see these, oh, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth person in the...
I like how they feel the same as me, because I'm like, really? I felt like at a point here, we got to a point in the case, like we did, for example, with a high-profile case like Gabby Petito, we're like, oh, my word, Chris Laundrie is mowing the lawn. He's taking out the mail. And now they're saying, people were like, breaking news. There's a 6th person on the lease. So why do people think it's interesting? Because what if that person's a suspect, or who lived there before? Or we're all just trying to understand. That I get. But I also understand their frustration of like, the family, like watching all this happening, not receiving updates from law enforcement, and then just seeing the internet go wild on rumors and speculations and all kinds of stuff, right? Wow. Okay.
On the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't. So be serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back, and then reverse it back to it being a target.
Okay, now we got to listen carefully, everyone. Listen carefully, because we're going to go over this a little bit.
Attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole...
Which again, that came from the lead prosecutor. It's not like law enforcement said, we do not believe this is now we believe this now not a targeted attack. It was actually the lead prosecutor interviewed by Brian Enton and then interviewed the next day by a KTVB reporter with conflicting statements. One being, well, targeted is probably a poor choice of words, and maybe it was just a house that was being targeted. But then to the next reporter saying, well, yeah, it's targeted. So that caused a lot of confusion. I'm not too sure why, there's a conflict in stories there. As I speculated in my last episode, maybe it's like the way the questions were asked, or I don't know. I don't know what it could be, because that just sounds like completely different statements, right? Okay.
Whole house was targeted, but
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would
But this, we're going to look at it at least twice. So there, you heard that. Let's just go back here.
The chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
been
up the
target.
steps.
You see, the he doesn't have to go up the steps confuses me so much, because Maddie and Kaylee, especially according to Kaylee's dad, were found in the same bed. Most likely upstairs. Probably in Maddie's room, right? Because Kaylee, I believe, had already moved out. So that's interesting. But to say he doesn't have to go up the steps, man, I'm just like, it would have made more sense if the injuries, the wounds, they don't match, and that he didn't have to go up the stairs. So saying maybe the two girls upstairs were killed quicker or in a different way or something compared to the other two. But it's just confusing because, of course, the report is asking, so Maddie and Kaylee's injuries don't match. And they're like, nope, they don't match. So they continue to agree with him. So what do you guys think about this? I just think it's very interesting. Don't get too graphic now, you guys. Don't get too graphic. One more time. And let's just, I'm going to go back just a little bit. Where's this one about the mail?
we're going to hear something, and you see these, there's a break in the case, and it'll just be something stupid.
The sixth person in on the lease that was never there. Stop playing games. This is serious. These are people's lives, and this is the future of this community. There's going to be 10,000, 15,000 kids that come into this community next year, or they don't.
It's huge.
I'm serious.
I had the opportunity to speak to some of my sources, and I've been told that there were differences in the way that the victims were killed. Some were more severe than the other. And this week we heard the target attack walk back and then reverse it back to it being a target attack. What can you tell us about the targeted attack?
They have told us that it was targeted, but they told us they can't tell who. We asked specifically, and they said, we'll try to get that information to you. And they got back to us a day or so later, and they said, we're sorry, we can't give you that information. But then a day later, we saw in the news that it was not targeted, or they think the whole house was targeted. But
I'll cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Their means of death don't match.
Maddie's
They don't.
and Kaylee's cause of death, it does not match based on the autopsy report.
They don't match.
Would indicate that one of them.
He doesn't have to
may
go
have
up
been
the
the target.
steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an alpha. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just gonna say it.
That's very interesting, right? What do you guys think? Caroline says there is an autopsy report. Now we are deciding which hearsay we want to believe. We're into it without seeing the autopsy and crime scene maps. Well, yeah, good point. Then it means there's an autopsy report already out, of course. Angel Martin says it's natural to think your child was the target. Old Grizz says once one victim is lethally stabbed, the other victim wakes up and fights back. The wounds would then be different. Yeah, that as well, right? Skyston says, are they really sitting outside? Go the blanket on their lap. It looks like they are sitting outside. Yes, indeed. Anthony says one killer that went after Ethan. Yes, Ophelia says we literally have 4 different possible ways to interpret the stairs comment. It's so confusing.
Wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Calm down.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill. Sent my daughter to college to get an education. She came back in the box, and I can speak on that.
I was also told from sources that are closer to an investigation, because there was a lot of roommates in there. And this was horrific for those roommates that were there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
The preservation of this crime scene.
We're going to look at another interview that they also did with Brian Enton in the last, I think, 24 hours or so. So we'll look at that as well. Welcome to all the new members. Johnny T, thank you so much for that super sticker. April Showers, I believe the killer knows them. Thank you so much for your super sticker. Could be. Alicia says, stare comments mean that Zaina and Ethan not the target, in my opinion. Princess Skywalker says, I'm not mad at the dad, he's hurting. Yep. Okay. So, continuing on. You guys.
Witnesses tell me that it may have well been preserved because the phone was passed around between one of the fraternity members and the girls. One of them unfortunately witnessed the death, the body there. Can you confirm that?
We cannot actually. We know nothing about that whole phone call. We've asked, and it's, I mean, I know that a lot of people want to know, but that's just not our agenda. We just are like, somebody called 911, somebody was reported unconscious. We don't really know. I mean, we've heard so many different things and nothing has been clarified or been told to us at all. And I mean, I don't know if I personally have asked anything about that. I don't know if you have asked that, but we know that this is getting 3 weeks in and it's starting to get, we don't want it to go cold. We're reaching out. I've reached out to friends down in California today that have connections that we're hoping to raise some money to get a reward, to get a private investigator.
Yes. Okay. True crime fallacy says, Dad saying, stop playing games, don't make me do it. Does that mean Dad may think he knows who did it? I don't know. He's just saying, stop playing games, don't make me do it. Be an alpha, you know. Not sure, but thank you so much for that. Okay.
Third party.
Why go the private route? Do y'all worry that at the end of this week that this case may be
100%.
cold?
We're scared.
When you tell me you don't want a photo up there with the reward offering information, that kind of sounds like you're trying to like suppress the story. I mean, why do you not need help? But hey, I could be wrong. And you officers, I apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I want to,
absolutely.
please forgive me. But if you don't have the information, people do know. If they don't, then you know, the community, this is a community that is IT based. These guys live a digital footprint like we've never. All of us older people, we don't know how much that digital footprint could be helpful. So
that's very true. The digital footprint could be really helpful. Indeed.
That's what we asked for. I hope like a DNA, a family lineage, if they could come out here and just start taking, this town is not that big. We could figure out this, and it might not be him. It might be a family member. We have family all going to the school together. You know, there's cousins, there's aunts, there's uncles. We could find this guy just with volunteers.
Lineage companies
Put Idaho on the map.
Lineage companies like Ancestry, things like that? Could be. I mean, they make some good suggestions. Let's see what Built to Scale says. A reward invites tons of misinformation due to greedy motives. I get it. I just wonder if usually we see a reward, right? I wonder if it wouldn't help in such a young community. What do you guys think? Blue Eyed Candy says, thank you so much. He didn't have to go upstairs. Maybe Ethan and Zaina were killed first, and going upstairs suggests that they intended to kill Maddie and Kaylee. It's very interesting. I just think these statements, I'm just like, what? Been going over them in my mind in all the different ways as well today. I'm like, sorry, what?
Christy, Steve, we're going to stay on this case.
Thank you.
We're not going anywhere.
Thank you.
You guys have been candid with us. We'll keep asking questions. Any resource that we have available, our audience is praying for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. It was big for you guys to come back to Moscow tonight. I know it took a lot of courage to do it, and I'm hoping we can get some.
I hope there will be some answers. Okay, let me quickly get the other. Okay, Gregory Sterner, nice to see you. Perhaps no information is to protect the town and school from people leaving. Could be. I heard many students are changing to online studies till the murder is found. Agree the reward's a great idea. Why not? Agree, right? Thank you so much. Okay, so there was that one. And then let's have a look at this one with Brian Enton. I do think, I started right here. Okay. So the family sits down with Brian Enton, and let's hear what they say over here. Thank you so much, Ryan Thomas. Okay. Also, you guys are like, slow that chat. Some of the subscribers, I'm going to just slow it just a little bit more because there's lots of people here. Thank you for being here. Let's see this one. I know that there's lots of interviews and lots of little updates and things, but those statements, they were very interesting to me. Okay, so let's see what they say here.
Anyone acting differently since the murders? I mean, is there anyone that you have a weird feeling about that the girls knew or that comes to mind?
Yeah, I would say not in the immediate circle by any means, but a few of the names that have been circulating around, I think it's hard not to kind of, dig into this. And I don't know how much of that is just because we have so little information from law enforcement and how much of it really is, a sister or a father's intuition.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, I love Brian Enton's question. He's like, can you elaborate? Because maybe, you just never know how someone would ask the question. Maybe they say, oh, okay. But he's like, can you elaborate on that? Like, what do you mean? Which suspects do you think should maybe, or persons of interest, I would say, I suppose. They've never named persons of interest or suspects. They just, law enforcement said, we do not believe the following people are involved in the crime. So that's what they're referring to here, which is very interesting as well. Thank you, Johnny T. Get the military, use satellites, and you would see. I know, right? Who was that? Oh, yeah. It was Zaina's mom that was interviewed on Ashley Banfield, and she was saying, where's NASA? Where's the satellites? Get the military. The problem is, I think that comes with a heavy price tag, and I think sometimes certain things, especially in small towns or whatever, it's just generally, it's limited by budget, right? I think there's a lot that every agency can do, police departments, FBI, and NASA, as they say, but who's paying for it? You know what I mean? Sometimes I think that's a unspoken of problem. Okay, so let's listen to the elaboration here.
At all? I don't know. You don't have to give a name, but I mean, is it someone that she knew or?
I have something to say about that. I just feel like there's been a couple individuals that were cleared very fast. That may not, maybe shouldn't have been. And
Share the strong alibi.
just really fast.
If you can dismiss
an hour later, and we're like, what? And I don't know. I don't know anything about those individuals. I just know they were people that, definitely should have been looked at. And
I don't know what would prevent.
Standing by. If anyone's like, stop interrupting, go watch it yourself. I'll link it in the pinned comments. This is my show. We're busy talking. Fair use also requires me to talk every few seconds. So sorry about that. Unless you want my channel get striked completely. There is a fair use rule if you do want to show other people's interviews. So I'm following the rules. Donna D, thank you so much. Jake, watch his testimony at Celebration of Life. I did watch it. I didn't find it suspicious at all, but we are all entitled to our opinions. Kristen, thank you so much for that as well. I hope you guys saw it. I don't think we have time to go through everything. I've got another live stream later on the Delphi case, which I hope you'll come and watch. But I will link everything in the description box and the pinned comments for you.
You from sharing somebody's alibi.
Yeah, I think that's what we're struggling with. So it's like, we know what we know. We've, fought for Jack, Kaylee's boyfriend, and, we still stand that way. So I did just kind of want to clear that up while we're talking through this ambiguity that, that's not what we're honing in on here. So.
But it was so interesting. Did you guys see my intro? I think a lot of you missed my intro. I slowed down because Jack was standing right next to the family at the Celebration of Life. That's Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, right? And He didn't say a word. I didn't expect that. I thought he would say something. He didn't say anything. And then when I just slow down the footage, which might not mean anything. It might not mean anything. It's just like, whoa, like Kaylee's dad really gave him quite the look. I don't know if you guys all saw that. All-American mom, thank you so much, Ethan and or Zaina with a target. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their means of death don't match. Maddie and Kaylee were hurt worse. Sure. I mean, it could be. Can't wait for the day when we actually know what the hell happened here and who did it, right? Beholder, thank you so much. You say thank you for all you do. Thank you. Thank you for recognizing the hard work. Okay.
Don't want to make more victims out of innocent people.
Exactly.
Definitely don't want to do that.
Okay, I'm going to take this off and show you this because you guys are all asking about it now as well. So this is Jake's speech, but here we could see Kaylee's family talking at the celebration of life, sharing lots of stories, and Jack is right beside them. That would be Jack D, Jack number 1. Right? Just wait for it. Oh, they're going to walk off here, yeah? Yeah. Okay. So wait. This is Jack D, the ex-boyfriend. I'm just like, damn, the dad gave him quite a look. Let's make it bigger. And as I say, it might mean absolutely nothing. So let's go here, put it on slow. And I'll show you like this. Okay. I believe they've said now they think that the killer came in through the sliding door. So there, Jack is giving Kaylee's mom a hug. Welcome to membership. There's Jack. I really thought he's going to say something, but he didn't. And there he walks. Okay. So we missed the look. Sorry. Yes, this is Jack number 1. Well done, Stefan. You've been watching. Just the way the dad looks now. Look. Damn. Quite a look he gave him. And then I don't know. I might be overreading body language at this point. I'm not saying he's suspect or anything. I'm just like, man, I really expected him to say something, number 1. Maybe he's scared to because of all the scrutiny online, which I also don't blame him for. But just the dad's look, and then Jack's shoulders just like slump. He looks kind of disappointed at how he was just looked at, right? DLV, thank you so much. You're providing the most intelligent coverage of this case amongst all content creators, in my opinion. Thank you so much. Okay, so you saw it. We'll do it one more time, then we'll take a look at something else. I'll actually just wait. I just want to slow it down just even more so you can just see the look. And it might just be nothing, but damn, the dad. Okay, so Jack is hugging Kaylee's mom. There, look. Looking up at him. And then like, oh, man. So interesting. And look at Jack's face. He's like, what? And off they go. Sure. Okay. Did you guys also wait, where is that? There's this other statement that Kaylee's dad made. Wait, Kaylee Goncalves. I've got all the obituaries as well, which I'll either tag if we don't have time for it today. Kaylee Goncalves' dad had an inkling. That's something he said. So I was like, sorry, what? Stand by. Yeah, this one. This article right here. This was also so strange. Idaho College murders. Kaylee Goncalves' dad has an inkling about the victim's behavior difference before the attack. What does that mean? I don't know, man. Okay. The father of Kaylee Goncalves, one of 4 University of Idaho students murdered in a home near campus on November 13th, told Fox News on Thursday he has an inkling about the victim's behavior, right? Dawn says, Father G walked away. Father Goncalves walked away ahead of mom and JD. Very interesting. Oh my word. DB says JD had a paper in his hand, like he had prepared something to say. Dad didn't give him a chance to speak. Wow. Okay. And Caroline was talking about, for me, there's no such thing as a mutually agreed upon breakup where both are perfectly okay with it. So that is where my suspicions go, with nothing solid to go on but life experience. And Kaylee's mom did say in an interview, which is in the case file, if you guys haven't seen it, she did say that it was actually Kaylee that asked for a break. yes, they both agreed to it, but it was Kaylee that pretty much broke up with him. Ultra Dark CEO. Thanks for the super sticker. Sarah K. I think when he refers to steps, he's saying law enforcement doesn't need to go through protocol or chain of command to release information on the targeted attack. Okay, that's true as well. Could be that too. All right. So here they say, listen to the quote. I do have some inkling that there was some behavior difference. When you commit a crime, you have different behaviors. Stephen Goncalves said on The Story with Martha McCallum, when asked whether his daughter may have been the target of the November 13th attack, adding later that he was referring to behavior of the victims. I mean, is he talking about the other two roommates, or what is he talking about here? The behavior of the victims? Or is he actually talking about one of the 4 victims? Did someone behave differently leading up to this? I don't know. My word. Okay, so that was an interesting statement. He said he asked permission from police to put any of that out, which they declined because it would not be beneficial. Okay. The other victims of the attack include Kaylee's best friend, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, Zena Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The Ladau County coroner said each of the victims were stabbed to death, likely while sleeping, and some had defensive wounds. And then remember when Kaylee's dad also talked about a stalker? That was after law enforcement said, no, they've looked into it and there's no such thing. You know, they haven't corroborated that. But then Kaylee's sister said in that interview where it was the dad, the sister, and the brother, when they asked about the stalker, she said, no, she didn't have a stalker that we know of. It's not like a known person because she would have told us about it. But then after that, Kaylee's dad did another interview and saying, yep, we know about a potential stalker. So that was all very interesting. Thank you so much, Renee. Okay. So investigators have pursued hundreds of pieces of information related to this topic, but have not verified or identified a stalker, MPD said in a press release. Anyone with information about a potential stalker or unusual instances is asked to contact the tip line. Goncalves told the story that because he and his family members shared certain passwords, he was able to give investigators some helpful information on Kaylee's phone and social media accounts. As of Thursday afternoon, police have not named any suspects in the case, and MPD is encouraging anyone with information about the victim's whereabouts and activity on the evening of November 12th or the early morning hours. So between 3 and 6 is what they're looking at, right? Then Kaylee's dad said, I want him to be scared. I don't want him to be confident. I'm not going nowhere until this guy is off the streets. So if we look at this post here, they're sharing this in the Facebook group about the Idaho 4. And here they're saying this is Kaylee sharing a post on the Be Real app. We've heard about that Be Real app from the Kylie Rodney case. And you can see that her address is shared at the bottom there, which of course is not a very safe feature that they have there, that you can see someone, you know, just being like, okay, on the Be Real app, this is where I'm at right now, and then having their address right there. Also, sorry if I can't keep up. Welcome to everyone who's joining membership. Okay. Devil's Advocate says, don't forget about the unharmed roommates. They are victims also. I mean, that's what it sounds like. Between the two interviews, it sounds like they're talking about the roommates. I'm not too sure. And I definitely don't want to, once again, I'm sure they're extremely traumatized. So I don't want, you know, to flood speculation that way. It just sounds like it when I read between the lines that they're referring to the two roommates. What do you guys think? Thank you so much, Jen C, NYC. CK said, did Kaylee date during this breakup, and why hasn't that person said anything? We don't know that. That we don't know, right? Okay, so what else do I have for you? I had those two interviews. That's pretty much it. I mean, we have... did you guys hear Zena Kernodle's mom's interview or no? Oh my word, there's so many people here. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's quickly find it for you if you didn't hear it. Wow, you guys looking at all your, let's just look here. Let's look here. We've got another live stream later. Hope you will join that as well. Let's see this one. They say mother of slain Idaho student speaks for the first time. Okay, so that would be this one. Just going to go forward here.
Terribly sorrowful time.
Not Not very easily, not good. I mean, I don't know what to say to that.
I can't even imagine the pain that you and your family are going through. Have the police been helpful to you, Kara, to understand some of the things they can and can't say?
This is Kara Kernodle, Zaina Kernodle's mom.
Honestly, no. Honestly, no. They haven't said anything. I learn more on the news and on TV than they have said to me.
Have you had a chance to talk with some of the other parents of the other 3 kids who were there that night and share information amongst yourselves?
Not really, honestly. I've just been dealing with my family, and we've just been absorbing this shock.
I mean, you can hear the pain in the voice, huh? Can't imagine being any of these parents. Sure. Blue-eyed candy. Check out details coming from. I think you mean conspiracy? Okay. Yeah, those types of rumors, it's too graphic for me, number one. It's just hectic, man, because it gets so... I mean, they did the same in the Delphi case and every case, really. Gabby Petito. But thank you. In any case, I am looking at all the Reddit things and Facebook and everything, but I don't report on things like that on this channel unless I know what's actually going on. Princess Consuela... Banana Hammock. New interview with the dad this morning, Fox News. If there's another interview, I'll look for it while we're listening to this. But otherwise, please email it to me right now on grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. Then I'll click on it and show it.
Can you tell me, Kara, what you do know about this terrible night?
Well, what I do know is not nearly enough. We need more answers. There is so much more that can be done that has not been done. And I just know that there's GPS, NASA, to find out who went into that home that night.
So she's saying there's GPS, there's NASA, there's got to be something. And I agree. I just think it's about the cost, right? What do you guys think? Sure. Okay, I'm looking for anyone to email me the link to the new interview. We did look at one that was only posted 4 hours ago on Fox News, so let me know if it's not that one, okay?
I know that. Why hasn't that been looked into? Why hasn't that been accessed?
Kara, can I ask you that there is a mysterious sort of 4-hour and 45-minute block of time that's unaccounted for by the police timeline. The police say that your daughter, Xana, and her boyfriend, Ethan, were at the Sigma Chi house from 8 until 9 p.m., but then they don't have any information on where they were from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Do you know anything about that from either your information from the police or Ethan's family or anybody?
I may be candid in saying this, but I think that they were at a bar.
And where do you get that information from? Did someone tell you that they'd gone from the Sigma Chi house to a bar before they ended up home?
That's what their father conveyed to me.
So that is what Zaina's father, well, she said their father, right, conveyed to me. So is it Ethan's dad or Zaina's dad? But I think it's Zaina's dad conveyed to her that they may have been at a bar. But he's also the same guy. Yes, he's the guy that fixed the locks as well. But he's the same guy that initially said, wait for it, I'm thinking, it was actually, so it wasn't the same guy. It was Ethan's parents. Sorry, I'm just going through all the interviews I've seen. Ethan's parents said that they were just chilling at home, right? And that was around midnight. So it's very interesting. I still also don't quite know what happened between, say now 9 o'clock and then midnight, and then did they go out again, or were they out the whole time from the Sigma Chi party? Did something happen there? Did they then go to a bar? Both of those are 20 years old, so initially that was reported they didn't go to a bar because they weren't allowed to drink, but that's why Maddie and Kaylee went out to the corner club. So I don't know. Very interesting. Thank you, Rocky. Ellie, me too. My heart breaks for these parents.
That he thought that they were at the bar at that night. So, yeah. I mean, that's what college kids do on the weekends. So.
But you don't know for sure that they left the Sigma Chi house, went to a bar.
I don't know for sure, absolutely not.
And have the police asked you any questions about where Xana might have been, or if she texted you, or if she had, if she'd communicated with any family members in that period of time?
No, no answers whatsoever. Really. I asked the investigators when they come and spoke to me. They were not able to offer me any answers. None.
Can I ask you, Xana's sister Jasmine?
Sorry for interrupting here. You guys, please send me correct links. The one for the Fox News interview with Steve Goncalves was posted on Reddit today, but it says, sorry, this post has been removed by moderators or something, so I can't look at that one. And don't send me ones that are just clipped from other channels. Please send me the original interview if you can find it. Otherwise, we can look at it another time.
Has put such a beautiful tribute to Xana on her Instagram. And I wonder if she has any additional information, just perhaps from being able to access her sister's social media or her phone. Has Jasmine been able to ascertain any other details of what happened that night, or where Xana and Ethan were that night?
No, I'm not going to speak for Jasmine. You would have to ask her that yourself. And she says she's going through it right now without her sister. And I'm sure if she had any answers or any information, she's already conveyed that to the investigators.
Okay, pausing again. Miss Doglover says, what has happened in the past for people to automatically suspect victims' families? It baffles me. Me too, actually. So, does anyone have a good example?
May I ask you if you can confirm that Xana's room was on the second floor of the house?
Yes, I can confirm that. And,
and was it on? Sorry?
I just had a question about the other two roommates who were there on the first floor. And I just wonder, wasn't something heard, or the surviving roommates that were there, they had to have heard something. They had to have, the dog, something.
That was very interesting as well. Magnolia says, thanks for going live. We love you, G. What are your thoughts on why investigators went there last night and on the bottom floor to the surviving victims' bedrooms? Well, I don't know what to think, except they came out with brown paper bags or something, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know what they collected there. If you don't know where I'm getting that from, it's from Brian Enton's latest Twitter Spaces. Did you guys hear that? There's always so much to go through. Oh, man. Okay. So I think we pretty much looked at everything for now. Let's just see the time. Yep, it's almost 6 p.m. I now got to get ready for the next show, but I want to quickly play this for you over here, which is Brian Enton's Twitter Spaces over here. Is it going to play? Okay. I hope you can hear it.
We've learned since we're outside the home base.
Okay.
And I'm outside the house right now. We've been working really hard. Paige has been working really hard on this special that we're going to have tomorrow night on News Nation, 9:00 Eastern, where we're going to go over everything that we've learned since we've been on the ground and new information. And we're going to talk about that in a second. But first, I just wanted to give you guys a little update at what's happening at the house. It's been super quiet. And then just about 10 minutes ago, and if you look on my Twitter, you can see the video, there were 3 law enforcement officers that showed up. They now have private security outside guarding the house, who showed up. They didn't park in the driveway. So they like kind of came out of nowhere, but I managed to get video quickly with my phone. They looked like they had some kind of like briefcase, some kind of storage thing that they were brought in, and then we started seeing lights turn on in the house. Mo is with me, who's my cameraman, and he ran around the side of the house. What did you see happen? Could you see in the windows?
Yeah, I could. They were carrying evidence markers, which is kind of interesting because it's like an early process kind of thing. So I thought that was interesting.
So evidence markers, and they came out of the house with brown bags, apparently.
There's 3 of them in there, and they're poking around. I saw lights turn on in the second story left-hand window from the front of the house. They were in there for a while. I also saw lights turn on the right side of the house, first level. Those went out pretty quickly. And then after about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes, they turned off the lights in the first window I saw. And
when you say evidence markers, what do you mean? Like the little cone looking things?
The cone, yeah, they're yellow. They look like triangles, essentially, yeah. And they're used to like mark. They have numbers on them, and they mark spots of interest for the investigation, I guess you could say.
Okay, so yeah, we're right outside, so we'll keep an eye on it during the spaces. I know this is, I mean, with the families, probably, you know, it's nice to see that they're still working really hard. I mean, it's Saturday night and they're out here working, so we'll keep an eye on it.
I keep telling you guys, if you don't have Twitter, oh man, you need to get on Twitter. I'm not, I mean, no way sponsored by Twitter. I love Twitter. I never used to get it. I didn't like it, but I love it now. Everything's there. Like this Twitter Spaces, we wouldn't hear anywhere else unless you're on Twitter. So it's always fun to, you know, if I can't sleep in the middle of the night and they're doing these spaces, I'm like, ooh, I'm listening. So let's listen to some more of this.
And let you know if anything happens. But Paige, let me bring you back in. Just kind of let's tell people a little bit about what we're working on for tomorrow night.
Yeah, so this is going to be an hour-long show focused on everything we know, everything we've learned, the questions we still have, right? We're going to be now approaching 3 weeks since this happened. And last time you and I chatted on Spaces, Brian, was a week ago. And I don't know about you, but it feels like we've learned like so much, but so little at the same time, kind of within like the last week. So we've been compiling all of it. Everything from the timeline. Brian's going to talk more about the sit down with the family of Kaylee that he did earlier this week.
So we saw that one together. Wild Mountain Time, thank you so much.
And then one of the interesting things is we got an exclusive tour of the Idaho State Crime Lab, right? That's one of the questions, is all this evidence. They say they've collected 113 pieces of physical evidence. What's happening with that? Where is it going? The processing.
So listen to all the evidence. Listen to all of it. I almost put it on 1.5 speed, but I think that'll be too fast.
How long all of that actually takes realistically, right? Because it's not exactly an episode of CSI where it's instant results. So we got to go in there and see some cool stuff that I'm excited to show you guys tomorrow night.
I mean, this is all very interesting. You know, there's all these little bits of information everywhere. You got to be everywhere all the time. So if you think I don't sleep, yeah, I don't sleep a lot. Because it's always like, oh, what, where, how, who, and there's so many cases that I'm covering. Of course, I'm covering the Delphi case as well. And today at 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm having a live stream with Cop Facts. Perry Freeman, friends with Joe Kenda, okay? Worked with him. So I hope you'll check that out as well. This stream should lead you to that one. But if you miss the ending of the stream or something, please make sure your notifications are set for that one as well. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that was a big deal that we were able to get into the crime lab. So that's going to be something really interesting for people to see. I'm looking forward to sharing more, pretty much all of our conversation with Kaylee's family, her mom and dad and sister. I went to their house last night, spent quite a bit of time there. Just really, really nice people. Just heartbreaking what they're going through. And they were really open and just... It's unimaginable because it's hard to lose a child at all, but the way this happened, and then the fact that Maddie, Kaylee's best friend, you know, that was like a daughter to them too. So like the way they were telling me, like if something had ever happened to Kaylee, Maddie would have been there for them, and now they also lost Maddie.
Which we also saw from one of the dad's interviews where he was like, well, when he first heard of the news, something happened with Kaylee. He's like, okay, let's call Maddie. And then you realize, oh my word, Maddie's gone too. Also, mods, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you so much. I know the stream is very hectic. And I know we're working overtime today because we have another stream later as well with Perry Freeman Cop Facts. Well done.
More personal experience because you got to actually go to the house.
Yeah. It was really, I mean, I don't know use the word honored, but like I thanked them a bunch that they let me in their home and trusted me to do that and tell their story. And, you know, they don't want us to stop covering this. Like the families do not want this to go away. They're nervous that it's been 3 weeks and they're still, you know, a killer on the run. And like, they don't want this not to be in the headlines anymore. So, you know, I feel like we're doing the right thing by staying here and especially dedicating an hour tomorrow night. Like Paige and I had this idea and our bosses sort of let us run with it. So hopefully everyone will tune in tomorrow night. Paige, there weren't any like significant updates today. I know you kind of get a lot of the updates from the police.
Sorry for interrupting you. Joe Kenda. Well, my. I love that.
What was it? Just like it was really just new numbers today, right? In terms of like how many tips they have and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's new numbers, and it's, to be honest with you, a large chunk, right? We're talking like 2,645 emails through the tip line, more than 2,770 calls, over 1,000 digital media.
That is a lot of tips and calls and everything.
Submissions, which I think is interesting. They still got like 4,000 of the crime scene photographs. And this one was really interesting. And I'm not even totally sure what it means, but multiple 3-dimensional scans of the residence, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if that's what they're doing tonight again, because was that like a Pelican case, Mo?
It was a Pelican case.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Don't you guys just like hang on every word of this? I mean, for me, I think I listened to this at like 3 a.m. my time. When I started listening, I'm just like, I need to listen to every word here. This is just too interesting. So if you haven't heard it before, I hope you're enjoying it.
But I didn't see them carrying in the evidence markers, did you?
No, so maybe that's what was in there.
Yeah, but why would you keep that in a Pelican case?
I don't know, but it
Maybe
looks. My first thought was like, is it some kind of device in there to like scan?
That would make sense. Maybe the evidence markers were already inside.
Yeah, because it's now totally. They had lights on.
Yeah.
And now it's totally dark again. But they're in there. Like I don't know if there's something they would do in the dark.
I don't know. They have flashlights. I saw them. They turned off a light and they were flashing flashlights around.
Okay.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe it was like a special UV light or something.
Yeah.
To pick up something.
And the other thing about tomorrow night with the special is we're going to be live outside the house. Sorry, one of our other photographers just showed up. And Paige, talk about the private investigator too, because that'll be interesting. We found someone local that really knows the local area.
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned. We have one more thing to look at after this, because somebody, who is it? Jamie, just emailed me this Fox News interview with a dad, the full thing instead of the whole clip. I mean, instead of the little clip. So let's look at that, okay? Thank you so much to Ryan Thomas. Really appreciate it. In fact, I just need to go to that right now. We can always go back to that, or come and find us on Twitter, you guys. We've got lots of Grizzlies there on Twitter. Okay, let's unmute this site.
We start this interview. I just want you to know how much our hearts go out to you. That I know from what I'm hearing from people everywhere that they are with you, they're praying for you, and they're also hoping for justice to come sooner rather than later for your daughter and her friends. You mentioned here, you talked about the manner in which Kaylee and Maddie were killed is different. And what does that tell you, and what are the police telling you that means?
There's a couple things that tell me with common sense, but I'm not a professional, so I want to specify that. But they've said the entry point was the slider or the window. It was in the middle floor. So to me, he doesn't have to go upstairs. His entry and exit are available without having to go upstairs or downstairs. Looks like he probably may have not gone downstairs. We don't know that for sure, but he obviously went upstairs. So I'm using logic that he chose to go up there when he didn't have to. And I can kind of tell by my daughter's texts, messages. She didn't call 911. She wasn't saying anything along the lines of like she had heard something or she was in fear. So I'm just putting the dots together. As far as the investigators, they're very tight-lipped and they're keeping everything close to their vest. And I understand that. And I'm probably not the right person to share all these things with. So I'm just trusting them that their case is super tight and they don't really need to reach out to the community. And,
Okay, for those asking, CC is already on my video, and I put CC on at the bottom. So if you look at the bottom here,
all the evidence is right there.
It's happening.
So, Steve, and I want to be respectful, as I can tell you're trying to walk this tightrope as well with law enforcement, but the desire to know and get some type of action as well. You've said both now to Rachel and then in the clip in your appearance with Lawrence Jones that your daughter and Maddie had different means or manner of attack, and that suggests one of them was targeted. Can you share with us, do you know, and you can't share either way, which one was targeted?
I can't. I asked for permission to do just that, and they said no. I probably over disclosed information that they wish I wouldn't have said, but the story's going cold. There's less people coming to Moscow. I'm not going to go sleep in my bed knowing that I could get up and I could go to town and I could do something. And I'm not going to go away. And I hate to be a pain, but as a father, I just can't even sleep thinking that I could be doing something. So that's why I'm up.
Do you guys, sorry that it keeps doing this like this. Do you guys remember in the case of the Moab murders, Kylan and Crystal? The dad was also very proactive, and it really helped to keep the pressure on law enforcement.
Understandable. Wow.
Let me ask the flip side too. You're being respectful toward police about the fact that they need to be tight-lipped. But if there was something you felt like you deserved to know or you should know as a father at this point, are there questions you have unresolved from the police that you feel like, hey, just throw me a bone here and let me know?
For sure. I mean, alibis, just share the alibi. If you're not sharing an alibi, to me, it tells me that you're not 100% confident that it's going to stick, or you have somebody who's going to come forward and say, hey, I don't know what he told you or that person's alibi was, but I have this information. I have something. So if you don't share the alibi, it makes it a little bit harder for us to just let those go. And I've said it before, I don't want to make victims out of just bystanders and witnesses. So I just share those things, and that would help.
Steve, do you get the sense that you're being asked to not talk more and that law enforcement is being so tight-lipped to protect an investigation that is honing in on a conclusion, or because they're totally lost and there is no real sense of direction? And I think all of us, we want to trust law enforcement. We want them to do their job. But I don't know if you know, I have no idea. Is this thing honing in at this point, or is it scattered all over the place?
Wish I knew for sure. I did sit down with the investigator, the lead investigator, and I looked in his eyes, and I got a sense that this guy was going to do everything in his power to figure something out. But if the evidence isn't there, that's the part that I'm concerned. And then there's layers of separation. The communication is not the same as the boots on ground. All the officers that are out on the streets, those guys, they're working their tails off. But there's a different person to just the communication. And that guy's sitting with the lawyer, and that guy's sitting there telling him, you got to protect things that are beyond the case, like the town and the community and the college itself. Those don't matter as much to me. I mean, I definitely don't want to hurt them, but I have an agenda, and I think it's pretty clear. It's these two girls, and that's what I'm working for. And I'm not going to let that story fall apart just because they don't want wanted posters, on their next rush of students that come into town.
Wow. I have to say, Steve, I hadn't really considered those factors, but it's obvious that that would be a consideration for the communications director of the police department and also the PR for the school and the town. Are you communicating with the parents of the other victims? Are they feeling as frustrated as you are? And I hate to ask a two-part question, but I'm going to do it anyway. Do you feel confident in the police investigation and the people investigating right now?
I do not feel confident, and that's why I push the envelope and say a little bit more. I hate to be that guy, but there's a job to do for everybody. Has a job and a role to play, and this is my role as the parent. I have talked to obviously Maddie's mother and her father, and I've talked to Xana's father, and he said, hey, you can speak on behalf and you can help push this narrative. So I feel confident there. That's as far as the real communications that I have. So one family have missed out to being able to be in the same location and the same thing to really get on the same page. So I try not to mention that and stay within my lane of what is my role. And I'm not trying to just gear it all to my daughter. It's just I can't speak for other people.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Okay, I'm going to continue playing in a moment. Eric was saying, is it more dangerous to be alive now or 100 years ago? Someone actually asked Ken Maines that, cold case detective, channel's called Unsolved No More. And he was saying it's just people are just more aware these days because of social media. I know that's a question on everybody's mind with all these cases we look at. You know, is it more dangerous now? Are things getting worse? Is the world a terrible, terrible place? I think it's always had a lot of crime, you know what I mean? And it's just social media and yeah, people just being more aware of all the crimes that happen. That's my opinion as well. What do you guys think? Okay, so let's finish this interview here.
Steve, before we let you go, just share a little bit with our audience about Kaylee.
Kaylee was amazing, hard worker. She was like, she hung out with two boys, her brother and her cousin, and she was right in between them. She wanted to be faster than them. She was that girl that was like really like, she was kind of like this a Punky Brewster type girl. And we missed out on a really smart person that was going to be a little conservative. She was conservative too. She was always looking up stories on child, you know, getting trafficked, and she was telling me that she thinks it's a lot bigger than people understand. So, and you know, we can't replace her, guys. There's no replacing any one of these people.
Steve, we're all parents on this couch, and I just can't tell you how much we feel for you, and can't imagine what you're going through, you and your whole family. And I know that you came on the show today because you're hoping that people that might have information, you're hoping that more information come forward. And so we encourage anybody to call 208-883-7180. The phone number is on the screen right now. And I've heard you say it before, Steve, it could be anything. You have no idea how small the piece of information could be that could help.
You know, and Steve, good on you for agitating.
Yes.
We need more men and fathers willing to do precisely what you're doing, keeping people honest and working toward a solution. God bless you.
You're doing your daughter's memory proud. And frankly, you're an amazing example of fatherhood, even after something tragic like this happened to her. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for sending that to me. Jamie, I think your name was. Thank you so much, Jamie. I really appreciate it that I had the full interview there. So that was great to see. He reminds me a bit of David Robinson, huh? If you guys don't know about the Daniel Robinson case, please do check that out as well. No, sorry. How do I get out of this full screen mode? Hold on. Okay. And then there's so much to do. Okay, I just quickly want to play the rest of this because it'll be weird if we don't.
Yeah, he's from just over the border in Washington. Spent time in the area covering cases. Obviously, no case kind of truly compares to this one. It's just kind of an outlier in a lot of different ways, but has a lot of experience covering different cases. He's going to come out, join you outside the house there, give us some perspective inside, maybe investigative perspective of where he would be looking. Obviously, all of this is to each their own opinion and different things like that. But it'll be interesting to get sort of a take with some fresh eyes, right? Someone we really haven't talked to before, who kind of knows a little bit more on the investigative end, who may be able to shed some light on some things. Because while police have been pretty respondent to us when we want to have an interview with them, you've spoken to Aaron Snell with Idaho State Police, who's sort of the acting PIO for Moscow right now. And we've wanted to talk to the prosecutor, which I know that's something we'll probably talk about in a little bit, but they've made themselves available to us and haven't really shied away from engaging with the media. But at the same time, like, we haven't had a press conference since November 23rd, like the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it's been more than a week since we've heard anything officially from them addressing the community, addressing family, addressing basically everyone who's paying attention.
Yeah, and I think when I've talked to Snell, I asked him about, like, when's the next press conference going to be? I think they feel like they're waiting for some kind of big piece of information or really, significant update to have another one. And there really just hasn't happened, unfortunately.
Makes some sense, right? Because everyone's wondering, why is there not another press conference? But what are they going to say now, right? Did you guys also hear, 10 to Life actually brought this up, that there was a reporter in the last press conference that wasn't even who she said she was and wasn't working for the paper she said she was. That was like, what? That was so weird. That was so strange.
It has been a weird week, and those of you guys who have been following along know this. I mean, the communication has been a little weird. Like, initially they said that the house was targeted, that one of the victims was targeted. Then I interviewed the prosecutor who said that it wasn't the victims, but it was the actual residents, like the house, that was targeted. Then police said no. And said that we do believe it was targeted. And the communication has been a little off. And like, I really do think police are trying their best and working around the clock. I mean, like I said, the investigators just got here again just now.
Right.
But like, some of it has been confusing.
And the whole press conference thing, it's a catch-22, right? They show up and they don't have any new updates, and everyone's like, why'd you do a press conference if you had no new information to share? You don't have a press conference. Everyone's wondering what the press conference is. Do you know what I mean? You
Right.
sort of can't win with that situation.
Right. No, totally. So like I was a little late to this, just because I was off and I was covering something else early on. So I've been now in Moscow for a week, but Paige has been on this story since the beginning. I'm just curious, like, did you think it was going to be 3 weeks and we were still going to be in this situation with such little information?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think I even said on here a week ago that I thought that they were close. You just kind of, everyone you talk to who has any sort of experience with crime scenes has been saying to us, like, think about the amount of evidence that must have been left behind, right?
Right.
We're going to kind of shed some light on the process when it comes to a crime lab. Like I said before, it's not really as snap your fingers and we've identified somebody as you might think it would be. But still, 3 weeks, that's a long time for these 4 families, for this town that, the provost at the college told you, like, he's scared too.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, the dean of students, that was kind of one of those moments, like, there's always moments with every story you're covering where you're like, oh wow. Like I asked
Was I muted? Sorry about that. Here I am. Now I don't even remember what I said. Sorry.
him, what do you say to the students who are scared? And he said, I tell them I'm scared too. So, I mean, everybody really is nervous. And talking to Kaylee's parents last night, they don't want to have a funeral yet because they have this fear that the killer would show up at the funeral. Everybody's uneasy that this person is still out there. I'm going to just bear with me. I'm going to get out of the car. I just want to walk around the side of the house. And I know there's no video because we're on Spaces, but I'm just curious if I can see, like if there's any lights on. Did you see anything, Yumbo? No. I'm just going to walk to the side. It's their 3rd story. It's like super slippery out here. And by the way, Paige, it's supposed to snow like tomorrow. I think it's like 70% chance. So I think during the special, we may have to prepare for.
You're going to have a snowy backdrop. You might have to bring out the hat.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah, it's really dark in the house. So I don't know like what they would be doing in there.
We just got 10 minutes left of this, and then I'm going to call it a day because I got to get ready for my next live stream, which I hope you'll all be at as well. Thank you so much for being here. And for those asking, yes, I'm South African. I live in the Netherlands. Mr. Grizzly is Swiss, and that's that story.
So put this into perspective a little bit for those who haven't been standing outside the house for, a week now. How often do you see people going in and out and like law enforcement presence there?
So let me say, I just walked to the back of the house. It's totally dark inside, and the 3 of them are in there, which is interesting. And the lights were on yesterday, and then someone turned all the lights off. So I don't know. I always get out of breath just going up this one hill. But sorry, what was your question again? I got distracted.
Just the put this into perspective. How often you see someone from law enforcement there?
Not very often. I'm trying to remember the last time. The last time I saw someone here was yesterday. I tweeted that video too. It looked like a detective, and then there was like a kind of a younger person. We didn't know who they were. There were 3 people, though. One was definitely a detective, and they went in. Sorry to get in your way. That was yesterday, but it's not like they're coming and going like they did early on. Oh, you know what? I can't see someone in there now. I'm kind of looking through the blinds. It looks like they're in one of the downstairs bedrooms, and they do have the lights on. They have the blinds closed, but I can see through like a little crack. So they're doing some kind of investigating down there. But again, I think this is, it makes me optimistic to see that they're still out here doing this.
Yeah, totally.
They're looking at something in one of the downstairs bedrooms.
And one of the highlights earlier this week was the towing of the cars, like in terms of action going on outside the house.
Yeah. And by the way, like, so it's the downstairs left bedroom that they're in now. And we know that none of the victims were found
Yeah,
on the
that is
downstairs
interesting.
floor. So yeah, so I don't know like why they're focused on that room, but that's kind of interesting. But yeah, the cars. So the
Still got a little bit. It's just interesting. I want to play the whole thing. Lieutenant Peter Pronzo, NYPD, Harlem Raiders in the house. He was actually on the show before and told us that, you know, the public knows maybe 5% of what's really going on in a true crime case. And I'm going to ask Cop Facts later in my live stream today. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you set your bell on for that. I'm going to ask him the same question. Like, how much do we really know in the public?
cars were here up until this week, and then they towed them away this week. And that's something also that Kaylee's family last night, like, look, they're supportive of the police. And the dad told me, he's like, I looked into the head detective's eyes and I saw a good, smart man. And they support the police and feel like in many ways they're really trying and working as hard as they can. But at the same time, there's just things with that you know, they're just, you know, they don't understand what's taking so long.
Right.
And then what reminded me of that was the cars. They didn't understand why the cars weren't towed for more than 2 weeks. There's just things that they question. You know, the dog, the dog that was found here, they was taken right to the Humane Society and not like processed to see if there was blood on the dog or anything like that. Things like that. They're just questioning whether in certain parts of this the right decisions were made, and they're just growing more frustrated that this is taking so long. So, which you really can't blame them at all. You know, I mean, just regular people are frustrated. Can you imagine, you know, being so intimately a part of this? It's just got to be awful, you know?
Right. And we heard from Xana's mom on Ashley Banfield's show last night for the very first time. And, you know, she was in tears, understandably, with sort of the same message.
Also, just to clarify, the whole thing with the locks, Zaina's dad changing the locks, he could have just been working on the lock and not completely replaced it. But the way that they showed it there was the picture, you know, pictures of the locks how they were before, and then a picture of a random door. They also don't know if it was the front door, you know, lock that they worked on, or a bedroom door or something like that. Mountain Bluebird says, anyone heard of the $6 Venmo about 3:30 a.m.? I've heard of it, but I didn't know what amount it was. And then the first donation was from Jack Katovich, and that was $6. And apparently he's the one. That would be Jack number 2. Yes, Jack number 2. 3 Jacks, a Jake, a Joe, and a Jeremy. All the J's, on my word. So apparently he started that Memorial Fund, GoFundMe thing. So I'm not too sure. But yes, thank you so much for that.
She even said she feels like she learns most about what's going on from watching the news.
Yeah, that was interesting when I heard her say that too. And then she also said, which was interesting, that Xana's dad was here a week before the murders, changing the locks on Xana's bedroom door, which was kind of an interesting tidbit. The way it is.
See, here again, they say changing the locks on Xana's bedroom door. So initially it was like, I don't know which ones. I didn't know if it was the front door or bedroom door. But later, that's what Brian Anthony's saying here, and that's what Ashley Banfield was saying on News Nation, changing the locks on Xana's bedroom door. So if you guys are asking who this is, Brian Anton, I'm sure you know Brian Anton. He reported with News Nation, and then there's Paige Lobdell. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Lodell, there you go. Executive producer at News Nation, which I should be following. Sorry about that. My bad.
Is here. So there's a lock obviously on the outside of the house, which is a coded lock. And then there's code locks on the bedroom doors too, because because it's like, you know, a college house where students live. So you might want to have your own door locked too.
Yes.
Right.
So that was kind of it.
That's what I'm saying. When I listened to the actual interview with Zaina's mom, she didn't say that. I agree. She said he was working on a lock and didn't know which one. So it is interesting now that information is almost like broken telephone. Now it's becoming, okay, they worked on a bedroom lock. So she did actually say she doesn't know which one, if it's the front door or the bedroom door. So yeah, I guess we should stick with that because that came from the mom, right? Okay.
An interesting tidbit. That was her first time talking last night. Are you there, Paige?
You just have to feel for them, these families, as they feel like they're sitting there. You know, we sit here every day going back and forth on the phone, right? Being like, what are we learning new? What are we learning new? And then you factor in the emotions of these families in this town.
Yeah, no, totally. And like at the vigil, it hit me, the emotion of it. And then also obviously last night at their house, just like, you know, hearing what they're going through. And I said this last night on Banfield, and we'll get into this in the special, but you know, Kaylee's ashes were at the house, and they also had Maddie's ashes there, and they had them next to each other with some flowers in the middle, but right next to each other because they wanted them to be together right now. And they were telling me how Maddie's family felt that way too. So I mean, just stuff like that, just so sad, you know.
Yeah, Xana's mom just described them as just a group of, they kind of found their people. They were just like a great group of friends. Everyone who is listening or who feels some sort of connection to this story, I know I do. It's because you can see yourself there, right? You can see yourself in college, living with some of your best friends. It's such a special time. I think that's why it hits a lot of people. You can like see yourself there and being like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, totally.
So I want you to talk while you're out and about, but I don't want you to be too cold. I know you got stuff to do and a couple more live hits tonight.
Yeah,
but
I'm actually going to get back in the car real quick. Hold on. Go
okay,
ahead.
that's fine. One of the things that you've said to me a couple times as we've been talking this week, and we were talking about what it would be like to be in the town. Something that has stuck out to you was this is of the layout of this neighborhood and this house. Like it's not isolated.
Not at all. And I'm looking forward. We're going to do that with the private investigator tomorrow, who's actually familiar with this area and has worked cases right here before. He's going to be on live during the special. But it's very dense. There's big apartment buildings, like 4 stories right next to the house. There's a couple of them. There's other houses all over the place. And that was the thing that surprised me the most, was when I would see the house.
Sorry. Lisa says, I don't know what Grizzly just read also, but it's juicy. It is. I'm going to show you the picture now. I'm like, what? My eyes. Did you see my eyes go big? I was like, what is that? Thank you to Rocky. I rock everything. I'm going to show it to everyone in a moment.
Pictures, I thought it was kind of like alone or just in a neighborhood, but it's not just a neighborhood. It's like a really dense neighborhood. So we'll show people around tomorrow night. And I just hope people will be able to tune in, because we've obviously been working really hard on it. And I really want like this to stay in the news, like with other stories that we've worked on, Paige. It's like, you know, you just don't want people to move on. And I know that's sort of the natural thing that people do, but it's like, and I heard this from the parents too, like they just don't want people to stop caring, because that's when it feels like it goes cold. So I'm just happy we're doing the special tomorrow night.
Yeah, I am too. In your conversation with Kaylee,
we just got just under 3 minutes left of this. I just want to finish it. So we've heard everything here. Then I'm going to show you a picture that someone just sent me.
Kaylee's family is so emotional and so important that I hope people tune in, you know, to hear that in itself. Mm-hmm. But we're really focusing on the victims and these families, right? There's so much speculation over suspect, who did it, murder weapon, crime scene.
Oh, hold on. They're coming out. Will you shoot it, Mo? Because I'm on the spaces. So they're coming out now. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Mo's going to shoot it. So yeah, they've got bags. And I'll tweet the video too, so everybody can see it after this. They've got like paper bags. Maybe they got some different evidence. Where are they going though? Because they didn't park. They didn't park in the driveway. They must have just parked down the street or something. But yeah, they're leaving with like paper bags. So they must have gone in there specifically to get something. It seems like it was in the downstairs. Yeah, now a really big paper bag too. So that's interesting.
Wow, yeah, that's new for tonight.
Yeah. So.
Well, we'll have all of that. Like I said, a big focus on the victims and their families, right? Because this is what it's about at the end of the day. No matter how much speculation and everything is going down, we're trying to focus on them tomorrow night. We'll have that. We'll take you inside the Idaho State Crime Lab. We'll even talk about the role that everyone on social media has been playing in all of this as well. Anything else you want to add, Brian?
Let me just ask Mo real quick, because I didn't get what did they have? Like, could you tell?
They had a couple of brown paper bags, which usually is evidence.
Yeah. So that's what I just saw.
There was one fairly big, large bag, which I wonder what that could have been.
Where did they park? Just down?
Right here, that's them.
Oh, in that Jeep.
They parked very close to us, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, sorry to interrupt you again, Paige, but yeah, I hope everybody will tune in tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Eastern. We'll have a full hour, and I'll try to get that video out.
So you heard about the bags. Let's look at the bags. Ooh. Yep, they got the bags. Oh my word. That's a big bag. Let's make it bigger. Boom. Okay. You were asking to stop at the... Okay, watch it one more time. Someone asked me to stop right at the end, so we'll look. Thank you, Nadine. Okay. Yeah, that's one big ass bag. Damn. Okay, he's in the light there. Yeah, it looks heavy. Okay, I'm going to show you the picture that I promised you in a moment. What are you guys saying? Oh my word. Yeah, I'm glad they didn't slip on that ice either. Yeah. You guys are like, was that PT that said that? I missed the Enton emoji. Do you guys miss the Brian Enton emoji? Maybe I can make more. I've got some more members now. The more members I have, the more emojis I can make. Yeah, that bag looks hefty. Very interesting. Okay. So let's quickly, before I show you the picture and see what else I got here. Oh, yeah. This was a News Nation special. Okay. So we've looked at this. Okay. So we've seen most of that. And then I just quickly, before I show you the picture, actually, let me first show you the picture because you guys are probably like waiting for it. Wow, this picture that someone shared with me, Rocky? That's the kitchen cabinets? That's the kitchen cabinets, right? And it's like, it looks like stuff dripping down from there. What? And the person who emailed me said it looks like staged or something. Like, I don't know what that is. But so if we think of the kitchen, we've got to think of the layout of the house again. Kitchen, what's above the cabinets? Oh my word. Yeah, almost 7K in chat. I try not to look, otherwise I get freaked out. Possibly Rochelle personal belongings for the other roommates. So we got to look at some, yeah, what the hell is in there? This is an interesting picture. What the hell is going on here? That looks very hectic, very disturbing. I agree. Sure, I should have probably said trigger warning. Sorry about that. Trigger warning, everyone. What in the heck? Yeah, it could have dripped from the above room. Man, we'll have to look at our damn layout again. I'm going to have to go watch Johnny Law's video again. Right? Oh, yeah. The last thing I wanted to show you quickly before I go, then I really got to go, is I'm going to put these all in the pinned comments. It's all the obituaries. So Zaina Coronodal's one is here as well. You could read through all of them. I'll make sure to pin them so you can read all the special messages that their family shared about them. So we've got Zaina, Ethan's, we've got Kaylee's here as well. Kaylee, Jade Goncalves, and Maddie May Mogan. Okay, so I'm going to pin all of these and you can read through all of this. Very beautiful messages from there. So I'll make sure it's in the comments and in the description box as well. Yeah, it's not, that's the thing. It's not splatter or spatter. It's just dripping down like that. Damn. Thank you so much, Joe. Love the channel. Love Grizzly the mostest in a safe, normal, respectful way. Thank you so much. Overtime, every time. I know, right, Stefan? Oh my goodness. Okay. So I think I would love to now look at Johnny Law's video and look at the location and look at the kitchen again. But I think we could just, it's on my playlist as well, where we looked at the whole layout of the house and everything, just to see where the hell would that be coming from and all that. That's so scary. My goodness. So thank you so much for being here today. I mean, it is almost, it's like what, it's almost 20 to 7 my time, and I'm going live at 10 o'clock again. And I've got lots to prepare still. I hope to see you there. It will be myself and Copfax, who's Perry Freeman. We're going to be talking about the Delphi case. So I'm going to going to ask him lots of questions, huh? Okay, so I wish I didn't have to go. I love being here with you guys. Thank you to all the replay watchers as well who made it to the end of this episode, because I know there's lots of interruptions and they don't like that. But be in the live stream then so we could all talk together. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much, Mods. Oh my word, you did an amazing job. And I will see you guys all again later. Thank you for all the support. I'm sorry if I missed anyone. I'll go through them all again now. And I feel so, so grateful for every bit of support. Come and join us on Patreon. I've got bloopers over there and fall forest videos and true crime documents and PJ parties and all that kind of stuff. And I will see you guys in the next live stream, okay? This will lead you there. Otherwise, go there and set your notification. Bye.